Right, so, thanks for that. I was just quickly setting myself up from yesterday. As a reminder, if you do want to download the code that I'm looking at now, it is from the Splitwasher code session 3, 23rd of the 3rd, 2020. This is essentially from the code that we did yesterday, where we constructed it, and we'll take a look at it in a minute just to show you exactly what we did and to make some of the custom sides of it. And then what we're going to do is elaborate on that, and we're going to drop in some more and more complications. Basically what we're doing is we're going to fine tune a bit now. The only thing that I just said to everybody else, if anybody's just turned up, yesterday, one thing that I did that was a little bit naughty, and I always promise myself that I won't do anything that I've not give you on the notes. One thing that I did do that we've not done on the notes is I added a checkbox. So when we ran in, we could click onto the checkbox, we could disable, we could enable, and we could make it dead cool. It's going to allow more people in. There is going to be more and more people arriving as we're logging on as we start going through this. Just as a reminder, I am recording this session. If we get cut off in any way at all, just for safety's reasons, I'm just going to pause my syncing. 2 seconds. So I've just paused my syncing through OneDrive, just to ensure that I don't get that lag, if you will. So I am recording it. I can see your comments on the other screen, so I am not recording your comments. You can't see your comments, but I get a feed directly onto my screen, similar to something like a social media website type thing. So it's just to give you an update of that's what I'm doing. So please don't worry if you're worried that people will be able to see your comments. They won't. Right, so let's get into it. Where were we up to? I'm going to come back. I'm going to open up SolidWorks. I have been working on a new way this morning of installing SolidWorks. I've gone into it this time personally, and I have been working with some other students on figuring out how to run it through an installation procedure. It did work this morning and it fully activated. I do need to run it by SolidWorks first to make sure I'm not setting you all up in a bad area. So that's why I've not rushed and I've not emailed anything out yet. But hopefully by the end of today we should be kissing the issue of SolidWorks installation goodbye. But yeah, I'm just waiting for a response. As soon as I get anything, you'll be the first to know, because I'll blanket it on Teams. You'll see it instantly. Anyway, so into what we're doing. I'm going to open up the code and we're going to take a look from the top of what it is that I was making. Now let me just double check. Did I just pick the right one there? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Let's bring that back. Bring the code back up. So we really did throw it down a bit yesterday. We got fairly sophisticated with a few things. It got very cool. So, oh, look at that. I've even spotted an error before we started. See on here? I've still not said that these are connected. So, well, I mean, to be fair, what I could do is simply tidy my lines up. This is me being incredibly anal, by the way. But I could tidy my lines up, copy that, put it into above, and then just delete that out completely. Then what it does is it gives me a reference, gives me a reminder as to what the hell I was doing. Then if I bring that back, and then if I looked at it, you kind of go, yeah, okay, I'll put it into quotation, because if it's in quotation, it just gives you a bit of a reminder of, oh yeah, that's how it was, and this is what I was doing. So if you remember, we declared this as a Boolean because we knew that we were going to use a check. I am just doing this as a reminder so people know. And when I use send message to user, what I wanted them to do, I just wanted them to have an OK button. So I did a 2, which gave them, I think it gives them an exclamation mark. I'd have to double check my notes. I'll call this up and I will bring up them notes as well so I can double check. Because the last thing I want to do is tell you a load of fibs when it's not that at all. So 1 second. Right, so in user form interactions, I gave them a 2. So exclamation mark, and I gave them a 2, which is an OK button. So when it runs, it'll bring up an exclamation mark and an OK button. It's just an intro, nothing more. What else did I modify on here? Scroll to the bottom. And I wanted, originally what I actually wanted, I wanted the user to open it up, and then when it was coming to the end, give him something that just looked a bit more professional than a bit shoddy and a bit poor. So what I did is I used the same tool again, send message to user, do you want to run again? And I knew it was going to be a question, and people go, ooh, it's a question mark, because that's the question. And we always design it around the idea of yes and no. So what I did is I gave them a 3 and I gave them a 5 for a yes and no. And then once we'd done that, we needed to figure out what this was returning. We did a watch. We watched that variable and we realized it was returning a number 6. So we can bring in no as well, which is pretty good. But for the tool and what we're doing, I think it does its job. I don't think we have to worry. Let's have a look. Yes, then we applied that, and then when that runs, it gives this really sophisticated look. Then what we did is, in fact, oh no. Yeah, let's run it, just so you can see what we're doing, just as a reminder. We were really showing off yesterday, and that's what this assignment's about. Really jazzing it so people look and go, yeah, this is cool. This is exactly how it should be. So if we run it, runs in, gives me an exclamation mark, gives me my OK. Then you see there, I've used a list box, buttons disabled. Oh, not now, not now. Buttons disabled, so I click 4, and then I go number and number. Build is enabled, so if I delete it, build is disabled. Happy days. So if I then go to use standards, it then scrubs these out and then grows this even further. Because you remember, all that the standards were doing is they were reading one particular value, then matching it to the Excel spreadsheet, generating the part. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to bring that back. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to hit run, and I wanted this to be updated to tell me if I've done something wrong. So particularly I was just trying to do something stupid. So if I go 10, and I'm going to do an outer diameter of 1 millimeter. It's not true, total rubbish, but we wanted to test against it, and I'll go 4. So when I run it, we've now got a test. Now I want to just heighten back on this. I'm going to come to this in just a second. I need to turn that off. In fact, let's turn that off. There we go, all gone. Then when I hit run, it comes back and says the wall thickness too thin in millimeters. I couldn't think of something good to write, so don't judge me. It works. So if I go 5, then I can hit build. Well, I probably can't hit build. I'm actually going to have to go something like 18 and then build. Now we're into it. Now it runs its procedure. It's big and chunky, as we totally know. You got the question mark. Do you want to run again? Yes or no. It just looks, it looks like Microsoft made it. So I'm quite happy with that. So, right, so this came up a couple of times for codes that I've been looking at over the past 24 hours. Now I've got a really crappy interface. We are going to jazz this up even more. We want to do some really cool stuff. And I'm not going to use anything that you don't have already. It's all going to be from the notes and the useful small programs that I gave you. So I'm going to go build. Right, now, can I zoom that in? Oh yeah, well I can, but I've got to go through options. So we'll just stay at that. Some that I looked at in the past 24 hours. This. Right, now, around 90% of you were missing this bit. Let me explain to you how this works. It is an if statement. It is dead basic, and it's some nickname at the trapdoor. So as it comes in, it's direct integer. It's in as 1, and then I do a test. Now my actual labels were but and AUT2, which became the variable, user form, and type. So it was variable B, user form, and text box. And then what I'd done is I looked to check a value. If it was lower than these two put together, then drop out and change the input box and reset the text box and disable the build button. However, watch, A is equal to 0. It drops out and then says, is A equal to 1? It's not, because I've set it, and it drops out. So what I can then do is go back and I can run through my initial test again, which is set over here. Let me just find it. Let me find it. There we go. Set over here. These are my case test boxes, as I called them. So you notice in the top I've got called test box. So I actually created a subroutine for one single test, and I could rerun it and rerun it and rerun it. It made my life so much easier, and it actually makes the execution of the code so much easier. Like I've said before, it's so good it must be fattening. Then if we come back, it'll run through that, and then this build button is reactivated based on me interfacing with these boxes, which what a few have done in the past 24 hours, as I said, they missed this out. So there's actually no reason for the build button ever to be reactivated. So if anybody's done that, that's all it was. It's frustrating. It's the littlest of things, but it tends to be just the logic being incomplete, and it's as simple as that. So I'm going to call test box. So what was this one? Oh, this was standards. Now, what I wanted to do is, let me just allow whoever that is. There we go. What I actually wanted to do is, what I wanted to do is when you hit the text box, I was going to use the call test box, so it remains deactivated until everything's been met. So if you run down here, what you'll notice is there's actually two different types. So what I'm doing is I've gone to test box, I've selected standards as the actual button itself, and then I'm just seeing if it's true or false. Because if it's false, if this isn't there, what happens is every time I run it, it will disable it. It will not allow for things to be executed, because not every box has been met, because it sees it even though we hide it. So then I've done that, deactivated it, gone dead cool. This allows me then to deactivate everything. I've deactivated the other options. Then what I've done is I've gone to the height of both interface boxes, matched it against how big I wanted them to be, which was here. So when I hit go to here and then I go run, we'll run from the main again. So when I run it, welcome to Spring Washer, and then if I go use standards, it gets rid of everything else and turns it into a single input box, which for me is dead cool. Really there, what I've done is I should perhaps make it a little bit longer, just because it's cut it off. It's a bit, it could be better, I should say. I've just cut the bottom number off, so that's a bit poor, but I could make that better, that's the point. Also, because I've reconfigured this box, what I can also do, I could even move the inner diameter position to here based on that. So just as a reminder, for some giggles, let's do that. So what I'll do is, you look here, I'll show you how this was done. Now these are normally positioned based on an XY coordinate. So if we go, look at this, top and height. So what I'll do, and then I'm going to, don't follow me on this because I'm just going to wreck it. If I move that to there, see here, we've got top left, we've got left and top, But if I go Control and Z, put it back, and then click on it again, what we got is 6 and 6. There's a positional set. So this this means we can do the same thing. So what I normally do is I call up my sticky notes. So I'll call up my sticky notes, and these are here from yesterday, so I'll delete that. And what I'll do is I'm going to go left 6, top 6, and it's just to remind me what values I was using. Then what I want to do is I just want to see how big it needs to be for it to sit there. Or, yeah. No, in fact, let me bring that back and let me just bring that down to there. So then that position says 6 remains, top moves to 42. So again, Control Z. Right, so I'll go into standards, see how we got here. What we're going to do, because I named it, as a reminder, I'd actually named it AUL. A the variable, user form, label. So all I do is say, in this case, if standards are true, that means it's going to be moved. So AUL dot top is equal to 42. I mean, I'm not saying you have to follow these. It just gives you that customability. So when people come into it, they look and go, that is cool. The labels are changing, it's repopulating, it's refilling. And I mean, I'm going to hit save just because I'm now at the point. I might run it might just crash on me. So if we run it, okay, I'm going to drop it. Okay, granted. I could move that around a little bit better, but if I bring it back, so all I need to do is bring that down, and perhaps, for argument's sake, bring it in from the left, make it more centralized. But you can see how that's working. I mean, you can even mess around with the font, but that's how it's done. Simple as that. So I'm happy with that now. It's starting to really look good. I'm not even moving to labels yet because I've got so much I really do still want to do to it. So the first things first, I'm going to hit run, and I now want to just try and mess with it a bit. So I'm going to bring that in, going to type some values in, and then build. No, definitely not. So that's ultimately knackered, as I can imagine, you know. Let's see how it does alongside values. I mean characters. So I'll go inner diameter for 5. I'll go 12 A and 24 B, and then build. Ooh, like that, like that. Okay then, so let's go 8 space build. Oh, look at what you could have won. That is super easy to break, and a lot of people at the minute are focusing all their efforts on ways to trip me up. But spacebar, that is your biggest killer. That is what's called, it's not a value, it is not a letter, it's called a null, which is such a pain in the arse. Now, as we've been going through the lectures time again, I've been trying to show you that, because what we do is you remember I spoke to you about having empty cells. That quotation mark refers to a null, and it's useful, but at the same time, pain in the arse. So let's fix that. Nothing worse than a douchebag trying to mess with your stuff. So let's fix that. I'm just going to call this stuff back up. I'm going to get rid of all that first. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. Okay, so we're looking good. Looking good. I'm going to go edit. So, obviously I've got useful small programs stored on here. Navigate my way to them. And we're going to take a little look through. Circle position, we've actually done that in class. I showed you it. Diameter changes, adding dimensions, dragging, entering colours. So if you are interested in entering colours, that's how you do it. Entering letters. Let's have a look at entering letters. Oh no, let's not. Let's not. We're not interested for that for the minute. We'll come back to that. This is Numerica. Boom. This is such a good little code. It's rocking. It really is. Now, some of you have probably seen this used time and time again. I'm just going to add my variable to add watch. I'm going to add it to the watch. Now, let's just examine what this is. So, UCase. UCase is interesting as well, because everything can be case sensitive. It can be quite tricky. You can be in a position. You remember in the other code when we were doing y, lowercase y and uppercase y, because it is case sensitive, you can use UCase and it will push it into uppercase, or you can use LCase to lowercase, whichever way you want to do it, but it will convert it all across, and it stops idiots like myself messing with it. So I'm going to run it, and then let's just add a letter. So it comes in, everything's all uppercase, it's coming as a string variant. Now this is an object dealer. It will allow you to it will check for what categorization it sits in. So if I go F5, oh, that's a bit of a bummer. So it runs in, and I'll get to there, see if that'll let me do it. So let's go A. Right, so it's come in, and it is simply a true or a false. So if it's true, it'll drop it out as you've entered a number. If it's false, it'll come in as a letter. And it's basically, is it a number that's been added? That's all it actually does. Checks to see if it's a number. Now this as a tool is phenomenally useful. Really, really useful. I'm probably not going to use UCase for what I need it for. All I'm going to do for this point is I'm going to steal that. Steal. Well, I mean, I'm going to use that. So, let's have a play around with this. We could actually do live checking. We could make sure that somebody's not being a douchebag. So we could put is Numerica in here. Or, you're going to like this. Let's say we actually put is Numerica in everything. And what it'll actually do is it will check everything. Oh, first things first, let's try outer diameter. Go on to outer diameter. Test box is initialized. And then what we'll do is we'll say paste. So we're going to say BUT dot, because it's a text box, BUT dot text. And then I'll say A for this case. I just want to see. So let's see what it returns. Don't forget, it's going to return a true or a false. So it's a Boolean. I'm going to add that in. I'm going to add a watch to it, sorry. And get to this point, and then let's run it and see what happens. Oops, that didn't work right. So I'm going to jump down to my main, run again, into the normal, and then let's bring that in, and then let's do an A. So at this point, A is assigned to 0. Ooh, didn't expect that one. F5. Values returned as 0. That is an interesting one. And it's also... silly sod. I've already used A. Right, so I'm going to have to... just can't win. Well, probably used X as well. Let's go Z. I know I've not used Z. So let me stop that. Let me just save that and let's run it again. Come back in and run from the start. And then let's go U. And then we'll put in A. Oh, brilliant. I've not even... So let's go F5. Tell you what, I'm going to need to go back to that again. I'm not making a good show of this at all. I'm watching A when I don't even need A. So let's just... Oh, no. Oh, what's happening to me today? Oh, it's all falling in bits. Right, so I'm just going to add in Z. Go to add watch. Go OK. And then I'm going to come back again. You know, I've done this for the past 2 weeks now. I'm going to end up sat in my office talking to myself some days. I suppose that's what's happening now. If I go A. Right, so I'll go F5. Oh, now, look at that. So let's bring it over here. Let's go. It's still not returning anything. Oh, that's such a shame. Whoops. 5. Z is remaining empty. That is a shame. So we know that that's not going to work. So then let's in fact, let's just remove that entirely. Let's try it and just say, give me the raw data. I don't care what's there, give me the raw data. So let's run that. Okay. Run into here and go A. Oh, I've now even removed my... Oh, that is not good. Let's come back. I've removed my blooming block. Silly sod. Right, so I'm running it again. Whoops. Who have we got here? Right, so back in again, and I'm going to go tab, going to go A. A is still returning empty. So come back here, let's go build. Oh, that is not good. Right, so Z is returning as empty. So it's not checking that particular value. Okay, so if it doesn't check it, so let's try defining Z. I'm going to dim Z as Boolean. Okay, so let's try that. A. So if 5 comes in, so I'm going to come back to my code. Excellent. Excellent. That is great news. So it is returning that. It is doing what I want it to do. So that is great news. That took me a long time to get it took me a long time to get to it, clearly. But that's great news. And it appears that my my saving grace in all this was the dimensional claim to Z being a Boolean. So that's done a great job for me. So I've now got a control variable that I can use to try and coordinate where you're going to go with things. So let's go. Let's do an if check. So let's go if Z is equal to true, then. Okay. So if it's true, it's a number. If it's false, it is not. So the argument is there. Should I not really be checking this for false? If it's false, then let's just clear the box. BUT is equal to an empty. As I said before, remember that? That was from the Excel spreadsheet. That is an absolute saving grace with all this, really is. And then we're going to end that if. So we've now got it, we can check it, let's see if it works. Still might not. If you've not, make sure you save. And again, this is from the useful small programs. Just one of them. So I hit run, into my normal, then I click onto here, go onto A, go onto... What? Ooh. Uh-oh. I'm just messing with you. The way that we've executed this now, because it's a split second, it will give you the impression that the keyboard has been directly disabled regardlessly. So let's try this for the big test. One of my main little joys. Now the most entertaining and hilarious thing that most students are trying to do is turn off my keyboard, turn off my mouse, and I love it, it's great. But I don't know if you can hear me pretending to type. That is me just typing away. If you've executed that, you'll probably find it's doing the same thing. So if I bring that back in, and then if I add a letter, completely illegal because I've told it not to allow for that. So the next real test with this is symbols. So I'm going to go shift and then try symbols. No symbols are accepted. Let's go control and tab. Yep, nothing's accepted. Interestingly, you can do, let's do a copy and paste. So I'm going to copy that and then let's try and paste it. Oh, totally disabled the values. We can send messages if you want. It's up to you. But this will, because the units are there, I'm not even going to send a message to the user because there shouldn't be such pillocks if that's what they're trying to do. So that has now made it even more sexy. So let's bring that back. Let's come back over here. Let's come to here. And then let's double click in. So let's review it. So if Z is equal to false, on BUT is 0. And I mean... Yeah, there's just no excuse. And as I said before, I will be trying to be a total idiot with your code. So I'll be doing everything to break it, to really make your life a nightmare. You're welcome. Because it is quite common. You do come across so many people who will, in essence, break the code that you're running just to prove a point. And you go, wow, that's amazing, well done. So I'm going to click onto here and then drop that out completely. What I'd like to do today is add in another user form as well, because I know a lot of you have gone down that road. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just want to go through some of the tricks that you will come up against, some of the issues that you'll face, like loading, initialization. Oh, it's just a nightmare. Right, so let's move it in. What I'm going to do is let's just declare this as X, and we're going to do a dimension X as a Boolean. Drop that in as a Boolean, and then I'm going to obviously change my Z to X, change my but. I'm going to change my but to tut, and I'm also going to change my but to tut, and change my Z to X. Again, if you've not done, save it. You'll notice the procedure I'm always going through is I'm always doing that. Now, I've been racing through this. And if I was marking this, I would actually mark me down on one particular thing. What's the one thing that you don't see here at all, apart from there? Comments. Don't see any comments there at all. So, we do have to do the mundane process, so let's get these comments in there to remind ourselves what it does. So I'm just going to put a comment on process to allow build to activate. We'll do this just in case, because handle as Boolean for true or true or false. Wow, I'm getting even more people turning up. There we go. Right. So, we're into here, handling. Then I'm going to add some more. I'll put it in there because it needs to be there as a reminder. Call test to check for box population. That's all it is. It's just checking for the box population to make sure that someone's actually put something in it and not left the box empty. Then go there. Oh yeah, we got these here. Let's get up to here. Put a command clear. BUT of any input. Okay. End to end, so I'm not going to do anything there. Change height for if standards is selected. Standards are selected, and this has changed position for if standards are selected, and it just reconfigures it. It gives us that jazzy look. So it won't be height. This one will be position. For if standards are selected. And for this, I'm not going to put it onto there. And what I'll do is just a blanket here, just because. Well, it resides all the way through. Disable. I'm just going to disable for blanket configuration, or disable for configuration. And same goes to the bottom. Just as a reminder, I'll probably put it on there. The other thing that I did do yesterday, just noticed, is I actually used an else. So, if this, else that. So I'll go enable. And it just gives me pointers as to what the hell I was doing and why. So what we got there? Ah, yes. Now, this area here was to check to see if the boxes were populated. So I'm actually going to put a blanket comment on because that's all it's doing. Check boxes for value population. So now it just gives me an idea of what the hell it does and why. I'll call this cut-off switch or something like that. Cut-off switch. Just gives me an idea to... Oh, tell you. Give me a cut-off switch and let's save that. Has anybody got any questions on what we've done so far? Again, if you want this code, if you want to pull the code I've been working on for the past few sessions, you are more than welcome to log on to Blackboard, and on Blackboard you will find it under, you'll actually find it under split washer when it's a spring washer. Yeah, it was me that uploaded it. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I've just left it like that for the minute. I will rename them. So, let's run that back in, and I'm feeling pretty good now. Very, very good. So run it in. I've got my configurations. It will move itself around. I can move that. I'm not too fussed with that. I can bring it back. And if I get somebody who's going to do something stupid, it can come back in and go, what the hell's that? Doesn't work. If I try to add a letter, letters are totally disabled. I can just go back to 5 and then build. Oh, do you want to run again? No. So, we found an error there. Oh my god, I've got loads open here. Just close all of these. Close all these. And these. And these. Nope. And close that. Nope. Right, so I can run that back in. So I'll go stop. Bring it back in. Run. No, open up a new. Whoa! What just happened? That's not a bit. That's a bit naughty. So I'm going to go 3. I'm going to go outer diameter of 6. I'm going to go thickness of, I'll go 2. I'm just curious now. Oh, we have an error. Do you want to run again? Hell no. So something's going wrong. Oh, and everything was going so right. Oh, hang on a second. Where is that origin? Let's just go back to the sketch. Oh, look at the origin. Something's errored. Oh, that is not good. We've lost a value somewhere. So let's just do a dimension. We need to fix this because I didn't see this one coming actually. So let's bring it under there. It's 2. So it has come in at the correct value. I'll click OK. And then let's come back. Stop. Let's look back onto the actual code and find out exactly what was going wrong. Okay, so it comes in, takes from A2, so that's the initial value that we take. Then we go B. If always collected as false, it drops into here. We have a select case. If I go 1 or less, oh look at that, if I go 1 or less, it should have actually sent me back to the... Ooh, that didn't work. That's very naughty. Oh, where's my MATLAB starting? Right, so let's run this again. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to start again, and then let's go again. That's really irritating me. Right, so bring that back in. Thank you. Right, so we're going to go 3, and then we're going to go 8, and then we're going to go 2. Oh no, in fact, I'm going to go 1. Now it still executes. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So it means that there is a flaw in my logic. which makes it sound like something is from like Star Trek. It's not. It's just a flaw in my logic. So let's come back. There is something gone wrong there. So the best way I can do this now is if I remove this and I remove this, let's watch B, let's watch T, and let's just find out what's going on. Because add that to watch, yep, and I'm going to add that to watch. We need to find out why that's happened. So I'm going to add that to watch, yep, and I'm going to run it. I'm going to go main, and let's go. So it runs into the main, and then I'm going to use my old values, click run. Oh, you know what I've forgotten to do? God, what's up with me today? I'm going to click there to break it, and then I'm going to go back onto the start again, and then hit run. And I'm going to choose, I'll use 3, I use 6, and I'll use 1. So let's build. Okay, so we're running. Let's gather them values. F8, F8, F8. So it is collecting. It's really irritating. It is collecting them values. So 6 and 1. So let's come back to SolidWorks. Let's just see what's happening to it, because something's definitely happening there. So 6 and 1, come back, run into T. T, what was it? 1. See that? It actually skipped past 1. So how's that being brought in? It's been brought in as a double. That's suspicious. Because, oh no, it will go through. Look at that. That's actually a problem with my logic. Look at that. If I go less than 1, then go, but otherwise you can run to 2, so it runs to 2. That's me. Oh, I tell you. Oh, that is rubbish, is it not? Don't answer that. Right, so go on to circle. Boom, that's his issue. So let's have a look back where we're going, and nightmare. Okay. So how can we fix it? A few ways of fixing this. It's not that much of a biggie. it is a little bit. What I'm gonna, I need to first have a look. So let's disable that, and let's just record a particular process. And I bet you all thought that we'd finished. We're far from finished. Well, we're closer, much closer. What I'm going to do is go record. I'm going to go, I'll go zoom. I'm just going to go there. And then I'm going to stop. And stop. As ever, I personally, you don't have to, but I personally always save it as a dummy. The issue is this is lesson 1, if you remember. If something's outside of the particular window, it won't function. It's just going to be massive pain in the backside. Massive. So what we got to do is we've got to zoom to... Sorry. We've got to zoom to a particular area that's going to allow us to function enough for it to see it. And the beauty is, let's get rid of that, and all this is crap. It's actually just this function that we need. This is where we need to play very, very carefully though. So I'm going to highlight here, copy. Now, we do really need to put this in regardless, don't we? Really? We need to make sure that we zoom to that area regardless of what happens. The issue is when do we do it? So the issue is when and where. I don't think we put it there. We're going to use these variables to move it around. We can't do that there. I think we do it here. So I'm going to paste that in. Okay, we need to zoom to a particular area. So, when the circle first comes in, how do we define it? We define it by the center and then A over 2. What if we gave it A overall? So, I know what you're thinking, bear with me. If this is a corner rectangle that's outside of this origin, everything would be negative on the X and Y because it'd be coming to the left side of the origin. So what if I said A, I'm going to go with A. We're going to see, it's just because all I need to do is get it in that operational workspace. So that's minus X in A, and let's do minus A in Y, and then let's do A in X, because this is the front end of that zoom, and then let's do A in Y. So in essence, we're just taking a blanket area and seeing if that'll fix it. If it fixes it first time, I'll be really pleased. It's been, I must admit, it's been actually quite interesting building up the assignment as this, just having some play around with it really. So I'll go in at 3. We know it can't be 1 or less, so I'll actually go, let's go 5 and let's go 1. And then let's build. So it runs in, F8. Selects the values, puts it into units, ha! Boom! I mean, yeah, I knew it'd do that. Then if I come back out, it sees it, goes to the front plane, inserts a sketch. I think I'm going to have to change that as well to put it to a normal to view or something like that. So then let's bring that back into the sketch. Goes to the typical procedures that we've got set. Sets it in. And yeah, you remember we had to put the fillets on. And brings it in there. Come on, you swine. It's getting there. It's getting there. We're nearly there. And we are good. Blanks all the bits out. Ends the if. Do you want to run again? I do not. And oh, that's me running it again. So that was the simplest of things. So I've come across some who've had some major issues with how are they going to actually deal with the size, the differences. How are you going to actually deal with? How are you going to actually deal with? How are you going to deal with these zoom areas? I've had students who've disabled snaps, then re-enabled snaps. I've had all different options before. They're not all right or wrong. Most of the time, like the rest of us, we're just looking for the best solution, the best answer, if you will, to solve that. It's often not straightforward, as you're probably finding. So the pitch and the fillets, they are still left as a fixture. I mean, arguably, maybe we should check it as well. If anybody does 1mm or less, it can't be that thick. I mean, 1mm is thin. It's a very thin. I'll leave it. Because if it's 1mm or above, it should be accepted. Anything less should be coughed out and said that is incorrect. So we'll leave that there. The zoom to area is doing its job, which is great. I'll just bring that up. So now we've got these functions working. We're now getting something that we want. Before I continue, any questions on this so far? Nope. Well, as we're going through you are more than welcome to interrupt me at any point and say, what about this? You didn't do that. Try this. Have you done that? I'm always open to just discussion about what we're doing. And yeah, we can change things. We can rebuild things. So, let's go back to here. It's nice, you know. Welcome. But I'm a bit bored of it. It's just alright. So, what we can do is... Ow! That's me banging my arm on the desk. We'll come back to that. I want to do something even more cool. So, see how we're here? We're on AUX2. We've got user form initializes, which is here. The build button's disabled from the start, so nobody can really mess with my stuff from the start. What I want to do though is I want to count through Excel and I want to add the item as it goes through. So this is a little bit of a sneaky devil. It really is. Everything's going to happen in user form initialize. For the minute, what I'm going to do is actually disable that completely. So as a reminder for those of you who are fresh to logging on to this, right click and go edit. This is group. This is group comment. This is tabbing. This is outdent. This just allows you to make sure that it follows good construct. Right, so let's have a think about how this is done. Now, really, if I go all the way down here, come to here, and let's just take that for the minute. This is for standards. And then let's get into the input box. Let's get to the initializer. And then let's have a look. So, what do we know? We know we know that we actually don't need to test. We're not looking for any true or false declarations. Are we? Let me think. No, we're not. We're not looking for any true or false declarations. We're not looking to locate rows. We're just going to increment. Because you think about it, all I want this to do is to just look until it finds an empty cell. Just saying. Boom. All I want this to do is to just see if it can find an empty cell. And I mean, to be fair, when it comes to this, that's dependent if you wanted to stop half the way through. We're going to add items. We don't even need that. So really what's happening now is we're slimming it down so much that what do we actually need? We're going to count down the row. The Excel spreadsheet, because we configured it to look at the user's input, what we're now looking to do is to look at that second row, and all we want to do is populate these values, because if any of you have been following me on these YouTube videos, that's me taking it straight from the spreadsheet. What we actually want to do is we want to bring it and we just want to drop it in nicely using this tool. So we are getting to a dodgy spot now. So if you are using this code, if you're following me through this development, make sure you hit save, because when this goes wrong, boy does it go wrong. And I can't guarantee I'm not going to get it wrong. Should teach this, right? So, how are we going to do it? Do we need SA? SA was just to check what's in there. We don't want to check it. We want to take it out and we want to put it into AUT. So that's what's in it as it increments until it finds an empty cell, until it's not equal to an empty cell, sorry. fits regardless. Let's move you out completely. I'm just going to make my life easier. I'm going to change that to R. I also don't want it to mess with anything else that I'm doing, so I'm just going to change that out completely. And with that, I'm going to turn that into an integer. I'm going to declare it in here, by the way. So I'm going to go dim R as an int. So that's all it's doing, it's just counting. Right. So what we want it to do is to run through and add these in. So we know from this code that what it will do is it will add it under command on the initializer. So if I go AUT2 dot add item, and that is going to be our first step. Again, if you've not done so already, make sure you hit save. And what we're now doing is we're now also doing away with something else that we added. If you remember here, we added fit. We're going to drop fit off, because what we're saying now is Excel is always going to be opened, because it's now being used to populate the upper box. So let's come back and deep breath, and we should now be ready to run it. So let's run it. Yeah, we're gonna... Oh, look at what you could have won. That's a bummer. So, how's that working? We're gonna come back, go down, and let's take a look. So, the one thing that I've missed, let's look at this again. It refers to this. So, I can't make the tool equal to what's in the cell. So what if I delete this, add a null, so it becomes an empty cell. Then what I do, for any of you who are from Runcho, you'll know this, or at least this is what they were trying to show you. Then what I do is I say whatever's in the Excel, include that within the null, and I do ampersand. That should add it in and grab whatever's in here and also add it in there. So let's try it. Save. Let's run. Oh. Yeah, I forgot to wow. So, yeah, what it's actually telling me now is, why have you put an if there, you idiot? You don't need that there. So now, we're now down to 4 lines. We're so sophisticated. So if I run it again, let's go again. Yep. Orientation, source code debug. Right, so, this is a tricky one now. So what I'm going to do is come to perhaps, let's get to here. I want to see what it does and why it does it. So let's go run. Yep. And we're going to go F8. Jumps in. Ah! So what did I miss? Why did that not work? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to cut that. Bring that up. I mean, I'd like to say that was a learning thing, but I totally forgot to add it. I stole this, didn't I? And I stole this. The system's saying, I have no idea what you want to do with these, but these are objects, and you can't just do a mid-declaration thing. So basically, get your act together. So what it means is I've got to go away. I'm going to go down to my declarations. And all my declarations are above. So I'm going to take these, and because I'm running the user form and I'm on an initializer, it is not happy with using a public declaration. Often you can use public, and public will allow it to everywhere for it to be seen, but in some cases it is not happy with that. So I'm going to go dim And I'm going to go dim. So I've brought them both in as dimensions now. And it may complain because I'm not sure whether it's going to see a contrast between the two. So let's run it. Okay, so let's bring that back. I'm going to run it back through again. I'm going to go run. Runs in. Wait a minute, wait, have I just put them in a completely crazy spot or what? I think I have done. Let me just come back in. Where did I put them? Tell you. What is happening to me today? I put them in the wrong box. Silly sod. Right, so come back down and paste it in. Now we've got... now they're in the right spot. I was testing all along. No, I wasn't. That was a total mistake. So come back and we're going to run it in. I'm going to leave that block on there. I just want to check it. Because if it's going to go wrong, I'd like to just know. Classifier not found during observation. So I'm going to go debug. We're going to come back. So we're talking about a classifier that it's not happy with. Excel object, Excel object, Excel object. Oh, hang on a second. Look at that. Oh, hell. Right, so if I go back into here, and then if I go to my Springwasher Excel spreadsheet, yeah, I know what it's saying. It's actually saying, I have no idea what you're trying to run it from. It's saying I have no idea where you want to run it from. Not even convinced it exists. It's not quite saying you're an idiot, but it might as well. Yeah, it might as well. So that tells me if I ran into the standards. If I ran into the standards, in fact, just for argument's sake, I'll just change that as well. I wish I could actually show you the full one for that, just because it would make my life easier with jumping around. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go stop and then run. Let's go again. So let's go F8. Excel object is loaded. Look at that. Look at that. Beauty. Beauty. This is still a bit of a problem, but we're going to address that now. As you're going through, try to keep your task manager open. I did just slip off for a second then because under your task manager, what you're looking for is to make sure that Excel is not messing with your background. Just because we're now in a position where if we interrupt it, Excel will remain. And the problem is for me is I think Excel's deep on. Yeah, it is running in the background. I'm probably gonna have to turn that off. Okay, right. So it now populates. So if I go back, what I'll do is go in, and I have made sure my blocks are off. I'm going to remove my block here, and what I'd like to do is, this is just a procedure just in case. So if I come to, let's have a look here, where we've got the shutting down of Excel. If I go back and go to close, what I'll do is drop that in as well. And then see if that'll do it for me. So come back in, scroll to the top, and then let's run. Comes in, keeps doing that. It's very irritating. Wow. I need to close some of them off. Let's just... right, 1 second. I need to close all them off because they are going to cause me a nightmare. Right, so get rid of that. No. Get rid of that. 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 This is through me doing the design process and just checking it and running it. Nope. Right, so I'm going to fresh run now, which I prefer. Go back and I'll go to the top and I'll hit run. So I run it through again and it's now populating. So how's this function? It's now read from it. If I go here, 2, 5, 4, 5, that's good, and that's good. So if I run back, now this is an issue. I'm going to let you deal with this one, or I might just have a go at myself. I'll click onto here, and then click on here, then click on here, and click on here, and click, and oh, it didn't do it. It can be problematic for reloading, but apparently it didn't that time, which is very awkward. So now we've now got a system where oh yeah, it's not happy with this, so debug. Not happy that I'm trying to close it that way. We do need a good, efficient way of closing this as well, because at the minute what it's doing is it's just running, and we do need a particular way of being able to close this. We'll have to come back to that because I'm not sure what we're going to have to do to get that closing. At the minute, off my mind, I can't really think about it. So far we have a way for protection. We have a way to read from Excel. Watch this though. We know it ran to 20. So what I'll do is I'll open up. We're going to do a test. This is why companies do prefer it to read straight from it. So if I go to Springwasher, let's say, damn it, it's still open, which is a pain. Right, let me just see if I can close this. Enable for editing. Right. So let's say we go M22. And then some spotty Herbert comes along and then the company says, right, look, we need to add a further to it. So I'll go 22. I'll go 46. Oh, let's go 47. We'll go 5.5. And we'll presume this to finally move up to 7. If I now hit save, oh yeah, because it's on read only. Right, I need to find Excel. Just because I've got it on, the system won't allow me to access it, which is great. So on, I don't know if you can see this. This is my, oh there it is. I'm going to end that task because I've still not come up with an efficient way of shutting that down yet. So if I run it again. Oh no, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't want to run it again. I want to make my modifications. Cancel. Brilliant. Excel's open again. Right click, end task. Again, I need to figure out a way to get that fixed, or else I'm going to lose marks. In fact, maybe I shouldn't fix it, or else I'm going to end up marking my own work, which won't work out well for me. Right, so we'll open back up the Excel spreadsheet. If it comes in as a read only, then it's stuck. That's the problem. So go read on. Let's just close all them. This is now open. Great. So I'm going to go M22. And then let's say the company wants to introduce direct comparison. So in 22, 47. Then they're going to go 5.5. And then, like I said, we'll move up to 7. So let's pretend that's the new configuration that the company's happy with. So if I hit save, then close, you will love this. I love this. I love this factor. So if I click then and then go run. Welcome to, yeah, we need to fix that as well. That's irritating. There we go. Right, so let's just let's go down. Look at that. See how it's automatically updated? This is why they like it, because then no one has to touch the API coding that's been developed and nobody has to mess with that. Their main focus is predominantly on just populating the Excel spreadsheet, and it means anybody can do it. The managers can do it. They don't have to be any particular expert. They don't really need to know. All they need to do is just add it, and what it becomes is almost like a live document. So that's a real benefit on why we do it. I'll just use standards. I want to see if my new introduction of shutting down Excel is going to work. I've got my task manager wide open so I can monitor it, and I'll hit build. Oh, we've hit a problem. Let's go 20. Oh, I just realised what it is. Oh no, right, okay, it's okay, no bigger. We need to fix it though. My God, do we need to fix it? So let's just bring it up to 3. Oh no, I've just realised what that is. Oh no. Let's debug onto there, and application turns off. How interesting, how interesting. Look at that, right? It's literally saying, why are you doing that? Excel's not active. Think it is. Weird. Weird. So I'm going to bring that back in. It's not happy. So this is another error that we're going to have to revisit. Oh, right. So what has gone wrong? Why has it gone so badly wrong? Check this out. Right. We have a test here. This test is purely come in if, and all it's doing is checking BUT against AUT, and what it did then is it was looking for BUT and AUT, but BUT and AUT isn't being used. Brilliant, brilliant. So I'm suggesting what we do is we nest the if. Now they call it nesting, so if I have an if and then I put an if in an if in an if, these are nested ifs. So I'm going to go if standards is equal to false, then end the if. And what I'm going to do is select the whole thing with my amazing button, tab it. So now it remains internal to it. And I'm just going to put that as a test on it. Just put on to allow test to run. Oh, to allow it to run with or without standards. Right. So save it. Let's go back, and then let's run again. Runs in. Nice. Let's select standards. So that button now should be disabled. Drop it down, go to 22 and build. Oh, nice, nice. Just confirmed. my Microsoft run times are all shut down. Nothing's been a pain in the backside. So I'm in. Why is Skype running? I hate Skype with a vengeance. So everything's running. Everything's doing good, which is great. And right, so let's do a run that again. No. So what I need to do now is go back in. I'm going to run it in another frame now. I want to see if I can actually get... how weird, I've got Microsoft Edge running. I don't run Microsoft Edge. Now what I want to actually do is see if I can get my standards, my custom running, but still be able to disable Excel. Because this is a problem. There's no point putting a function in if it's going to go wrong. So let's run it. And we need to fix it now rather than later. And then we can do more jazzying as we're running along. So according to this, Excel's been started. So I'll run into 5. Need to be bigger, so I'll go 7. And go with a thickness of 4. Then go build. No. Now, let me show you this. Excel is still registered. So Excel is still running. That is not good. So I'm going to end that. Let's run that back. What we need to do is think about how we're going to disable Excel to shut it down. From looking at when we tried to do it in here, the system wasn't happy with that. So I'm going to copy that and let's see if... Why would it not be happy with that running? I'm going to bring that back out. I just want to see what the complaint was. So my Excel is shut down. I've right clicked, closed it, and then let's run it again. It's weird. It's weird. So let's stop it, go back in, and let's run. Gonna go okay. It's probably not weird. It's probably something I'm missing, and this tends to be. Well, it's not tends to be, it's always the case. It's when you miss something, because I know I miss an awful lot when it comes to this sometimes. Kind of sit back and go, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. And I'll build. I'm looking for the error. Object variable or block variable not set. Ah, right, so let's have a look. It's referring to the Excel spreadsheet application. So, what if we count through the procedure? Now hear me out. What if we count through the procedure? I'll re-enable this because it can only run when the standards run. This is for disabling this one down here. What if it counts through the procedure, then disables the values? Because then we've captured the values, haven't we? So if it runs through, I nearly put it in the wrong spot again. And if I come here, what if I run through the loop and then at the end it basically shuts it down? In theory should work. So let's run it and let's check, because if that does it, problem solved, ladies and gents. Problem solved. So I'll go save and let's run again. So now I'm going to run through the process, going to come back in and let's go 5. And I'm going to go, well, we know it needs to be bigger, so we'll go there, we'll go 7 and build. Interesting. See that? Do you want to run again? Now, according to this, Excel has been shut down. No, I don't. So I need to find out now what went wrong. And I suspect it's me going with values here. We're actually coming across limitations. So we need to start putting limitations in there. So I'm going to need to put a sensible value in. Because I think them values so close to each other, we're just too blocky. And the system's going, nah, can't happen. So we're going to use particular values that we're used to, that we're happy with, that we know function. So I'll go 5, and I'll go 3, and I'll go 6, and I'll go 2. Now, if you remember earlier, these did generate. So let's build, and let's go F8. This is the big one. Okay, so that did run through. It's generated the part. It is actually realistic. It's something like we're after. The values now, I went with a large thickness, and these were probably colliding. So we actually do have quite a big error there. The good thing is, if I bring this across, you see there, Excel is shut down, which is sweet. It's doing its job. It's what I wanted. So bring that back. And I'm just going to clear out some of these because I'm ending up with millions of these blooming parts. Come back in again. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, so basically I was stretching the spring, or I was making the thickness way too much. So this is where the logic really comes in with this. Adding that in there. So that restriction would, in this case, sit between, let's have a look, sit between here and here. These two need to work together, so you'd need to have restrictions there. Yeah, these, so you would need to have present restrictions there. I mean, it makes you wonder whether when we click standards, if I click onto here, that we get the value to appear. We could do that. In fact, we may do that. I'm going to take my attention away from this now. We've done some big stuff there. We've got Excel running all over the place. We've made sure it remains efficient. We've made sure it's doing its job, and we're feeling pretty good about that. So it's actually doing a good job. And based on the notes that we've done so far, this is really digging nice and deeply into these notes and everything that we've pretty much done so far. What I would like to do though is, as I was saying before, if I scroll back up, oh, I've got blocks in there, I'm going to get rid of that. Yep. Scroll back up, and if we notice here, it's alright. It's just alright, isn't it? It's a bit shit. Could be a bit better. It needs to. You want people to look at it and go, yes, this is my stuff. This is what I'm after. So this is where a lot of students are coming along and doing user forms, welcome user forms, which is alright. Yeah, which is good. So what I'm going to do is add another user form. And what I'll do is I'm going to go insert user form. So we've now got user form 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off basic. Let's just do a continue button, or enter build button, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of what we could call it. Let's call this enter tool. So we'll go enter tool, and so we'll call this enter button. It allows me to navigate. You know this by now. Allows me to navigate. I can put a picture on here, and once I get this happily working, that's what I'm probably going to do. I'm probably going to name that like that, and yeah. So I think that's what we'll do. Right, so how's this going to change? I'm going to drop this out for 1. And I'm actually going to comment that out and comment that out. So, am I going to use any initializers on user form 2? Not really. I mean, a lot of people do say it's quite useful to make sure that you load and reload and do what needs to be done. But I'm not really going to use any initializers. But I will do. I tell you what, we'll do proper procedures. So let's go load. User form. Whoops. User form 2. And then we'll go user form 2 dot show. So that's now going to bring us into here. And then well, I can put welcome on, it doesn't really matter. If I double click in, now I've got my button. Right, so what can be useful to ensure that your memory is removed, to make sure that there's no little niggly bits running in the background, is I'm going to actually deactivate the user form before I progress on to the next. Once somebody clicks enter, what I want it to do is I want it to unload, unload me. And what it will do is it will take its present function that's running and say, right, I'll unload it, and then what I want it to do is go load user form 1, and again user form 1 dot show. So now we're cooking with gas. We're looking pretty good. Let's do a test. I'm going to save that as ever. If something's going to go wrong, it will be now. I'm going to run. Enter tool. 3, 2, 1. Not as close as I liked it, but nice. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is close. Just going to double check my task manager. Have I closed my... Oh, what a silly sod. I've closed my task manager. Just opening my task manager. Make sure that everything's gone. Just to show you, all Microsoft products. Excel is not on that list, which is good. So, that runs in. Now, I do know some of you have had some issues with this. I'm just going to move this up and just have it as a big enter. At least you can see the user form functioning. Some of you have had issues with this. So what I'm going to do is go back in here. Just for fun, I'm going to put on a back button. Everywhere has a back button. I don't know why you go to the enter tool, but everywhere has a back button. Yeah. Now, as I do this, because there is stuff running in the background, because we use the initializer, if I run this and I don't unload, when I reload again, it's going to declare that there's multiple objects being seen, so it doesn't know what it wants me to do. So first things first, I'm going to call this back, and I'm going to call this back button. So what I'll do is just bring it to there and make it part of the happy family. So I'm going to double click in. Now, when we do this, what you're going to be aware of is I've got to remove everything that's going on. So I'm going to unload me. This is the trickiest bit. I'm going to try and see if it'll let me deactivate the Excel spreadsheet. Well, no, at this point it's probably not going to. So unload me, and I'm going to go load user form 2 user form 2 dot show. So it's unloaded user form 1. Everything's removed off it. Excel will still be running in the background though. Don't like that. We will revisit that. We're going to need to. So I'm going to go enter. This pause is the loading of Excel. Runs in, back button's there, close button's there. I'm going to go back, enter. Let me just make sure. I'm just digging out Excel from the list. 2 seconds. Why do they never make it easy to find? I cannot just type Excel. Gotta find in just a minute. And apparently not. Brilliant. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, what am I talking about? Because when we run it, when we go back to it, it deactivates it anyway. It won't be here. What am I So if I go back and then enter, it reloads Excel, extracts the values and then replaces them in. So it runs through that process each time. So it works. I was just looking for it then, thinking, where is it? Well, that's why it's not there. So I'm going to pick my 14 and let's build. Don't run again. No. I still like that. I still like the end button. That's why I've not changed it. I know a few will be sitting there going, well, is it right? Yeah, I know. I just don't care. I do like it. I think it does it. It does a good job. See here, these here, I'm actually getting build-ups here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to cut that. And I'm going to place it actually in here. Put it there. And again, it just reminds me exactly what I did. And it means I can bring that up. And it's all within line, if you will. It's good to be able to do that. The user form functions here, I'm going to drop that out because I don't actually need them now. I've now replaced this with an alternate, something I like to think is a little bit more superior. And yeah, we're looking very, very comfortable right now. So just I'll leave them spaced out and go back in, go back. So the functions are there, run into here, and we do need to come up with logic to test these. There is going to be logic, and it's going to be about the bloody. It's going to be about the pitch. It's the pitch that's putting this off. So we need some logic that's just going to give us a distance that'll maintain a distance continuously. Let's have a look where HP's set at the minute. HP's set to 4 at the minute. So if I went 7, that's why it crashed, because we have multiple points. And yeah, so we may need to customize this a little bit. If I take T, okay, let's just try this for some giggles. I'm gonna go T plus 0.5. Comment that out. I just want to check this at the minute. I want to see if that's actually what's doing it, which I suspect it is. So if I run it, enter tool. I'm going to use standard, so go 3, I'm going to go 6, and I'm going to go 7, which is huge. This might still crash though. That helix as a sweep may be illegal. In fact, I do want to run again. So I'm going to run that again. Enter the tool. I'm not going to go 7 this time. What I'm going to do is go something smaller. We're going to go, let's go 2. Okay, I don't want to run again, I just want to check that. So let's have a look at the heights. Let's go top to top, 2 mil, which is good. This should come back at 0.5. It does. The thing is we've introduced a control variable there. I'd like to make sure that we can continue to control that variable. Let's say for simulation sakes, if I go back to the company and I go, right, this is what I've done, then the company come back and go, yeah, but we want to change this or change that. I need to remain in control. I 100% need to remain in control. So what I'll do is say public HPO. So it's the height pitch offset as a double. And what I will do is under declarations where we have here, what we will do is we will say, just for the minute, so we're going to go HPO is equal to 0.5, 0.5, and then what I'll do is remove that and call that HPO. The thing is of doing it is if I need to recall that, that is where the collection is. It needs to be kept in mind. So these case statements, they actually don't function. We've given it a particular offset and continuous states. So let's give it a go. We may be able to drop this case statements completely. I know that we're starting to run up to time, but I wanted to just get us on a nice conclusion. So let's enter tool. Let's go 1. So it should, well, and let's go 4. Should give us a 4mm thickness with a 0.5 offset between it, giving us an internal diameter of 3 and an outside diameter of 6. It's a bit aggressive though, is that? So no, I don't want to run again. Let me just come back down. Let's just take a look at that. So it's a 4mm thickness, as we can see there, a bit thick. And then we have a 0.5mm offset with our internal recommendations that we're looking for. I think we need to put some scrutiny on that. That type of input is too aggressive, so we need to look at, I think we need to look at limiting that, because that's not realistic. It's become something else completely. It's outside of what we're defining as a spring washer. So let's go back, come back in, and I'm going to hit save. So we do need to revisit that for that sake. This now selects case in different states, sets it to different, and then sets FT based on it. So what it's doing is it is selecting a variant fillet based on the sizes that are being inputted. I mean, we can leave that there for the minute anyway. The issue is we can't really remove it. It's a fabricated dimensions that we've put in, but we've put it there because we want to at least be able to display levels of control of it. It's going to just remove my blocks as well, actually. Right, so my blocks are out, so at least now I can just concentrate on this. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. There's a few more things I'd like to do to this yet. The one thing that we've not done is we've not done anything sophisticated. We've not done things with images yet. Images would be dead cool. And what I'd like to do is be able to do that. And I think that is what the big next step will be. We're probably going to add some images. We're going to add some restrictions onto it. We do need to think about some logic that's going to control the outer diameter and the thickness of the components, just because it is too big in certain conditions. So we need to limit that. We would like. I think we're going to need to put limitations on the outer diameter and the thickness as well, just to make sure people don't go too big, too small. Make sure that's within an operational limit. And yeah, and then let's have a think. So let me have a think what we've done today. What we've done is we've added Excel. We've gone, I mean, to be fair, we've gone crazy with Excel. We've added Excel here, we've added Excel. In fact, here now, what I'll do is I'm that confident, total crap, I'm going to remove the rest of that rubbish. It's populating straight from one single cell. We've tested against null. We've made sure people can't add letters. There's a bigger. If you do want to mess with this even further, you can do if is numeric is false, do something else. You can offer warnings. Everything we've done on this spring washer so far is about the warnings, what you can do with it, and you can really put some limitations onto it. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And the only thing I won't be doing is I will not be autopathing. I don't want to autopath. Getting that working is tricky. My count procedures and my location cells. I am starting to think that part of this can be put into subroutines. It's my initial thought. We could drop that into a subroutine, and we could have geometry subroutines. We could have these things particularly running. The original cell types here, the drawings themselves, we could drop that out as well. We could have the submain having the littlest amount in there. Our geometry at the minute, we've zoomed to fit. That's because, if you remember, if the workspace is too far out, it'll keep snapping. Really annoying, and no matter what you do, all you see is a dot. And it doesn't give you any insight. Can be incredibly frustrating. Right, so I think that tidies up quite nicely to the end of this session. Again, I will be continually running these, and again, if anybody's having any real meltdowns with this, please don't just hide. Drop me a message, contact me over Teams. You can ring me. I don't mind. I mean, I'm on Teams. I am sat here all day long. It's unreal. So if you need anything, please get in touch. I don't mind at all. As I said, this is going to be saved. This has been recorded. This will be uploaded onto Blackboard. Well, it will be uploaded onto YouTube, and then the link will be put onto Blackboard. The model that I've just done here, I will save it, and I will be also upload. Well, I say model. The code that I've done. Today's update, I will be uploading it, putting it onto Blackboard for you to have a gander through. And yeah, and that's it for today, I think. Is there any questions before I close this? Then that's it. Again, you are able to get in touch with me anytime that you like. Don't think that there is like a 9 to 5 thing. The way I've been trying to operate is, if I have some spare time, I will nip upstairs to my office and I will run through, see if I can fix it dead quickly. If you message me too late, I might be just sat watching telly, and it can be your eyes can go square doing this. So I may not get back to you until tomorrow. The best way you can get in touch with me is through Teams. Emails at the minute are crazy. I'm having millions of stuff about coronavirus and the new restrictions, and it's just bonkers. So if you do need to get in touch with me, please, you're more than welcome to get in touch through Teams. But other than that, I hope it's been a benefit, and I will speak to you all for the next session.